Hi there, and welcome to One Body, One Life, proudly sponsored by Jamaise Fine Foods. I'm Vicki Nguyen, and I'm on a personal mission to live to 120, and I would absolutely love to take you on this journey with me. This fortnightly show is focused on longevity and understanding how we can all live longer and stronger through diet, exercise, lifestyle, nutrition, and so on. Each episode, we will uncover tips and tricks to living your healthiest and happiest life for as long as physically possible. I'll be chatting to the experts as well as people who have defied the odds and explore various treatments and modalities to help us all reach optimal wellness. So welcome back to the show, Don. We had such a great chat last week, so we wanted to bring you back and talk about today specifically how to avoid disease. And as you mentioned last time, there are really two causes of disease. You mentioned you're either toxic or you're deficient. So how does a person know? Like, what are the markers for well-being?
Yeah, I'd like to share, a few thoughts on that. But what is your feeling about it?
Well, I guess like for me personally is if my energy levels are good from morning to night, my mind is clear, my digestion is good, I don't have any skin conditions. I guess generally that's what I consider well-being. I look good, I feel good, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the markers.
Okay.
Our thoughts create our emotions, and our emotions create our behaviors, and our behaviors create our results.
Right.
And so we've got to make sure that if we have negative experiences, negative thoughts, things like that, we just don't focus on it. It makes it worse.
Yes.
And the ancients taught people to draw an X with their finger out in front of them.
Right.
And when you had any kind of a negative experience, you drew one line and you said cancel. You draw another line and you say clear.
Right.
And then you push the button in the middle of the X and say delete.
Wow.
And if you practice that, and they used to practice that all the way back to the earliest dynasties of Egypt, and it was handed down for thousands of years. Now most people don't even know to practice that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
And so you let go of the negative and you hang on to the positive. When you have a positive experience, laughter, smile, anything that's good, you draw the X and you say affirm with one line, draw the other line and say confirm.
Wow.
And then you push the button and you say save. I want to remember this. Save.
Wow.
And it's really it's a good thing. And for a lot of people, it might take, a week or 10 days or something to get used to it.
Yes.
But all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, this worked.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really a good thing.
So, and you think, so what were the words that you say for the negative?
For the negative, it's cancel, clear, delete.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really good. And if people would just practice that, and a lot of times I've had people even just take a pen and draw it on paper,
yes.
Until they just get used to it.
Yes.
So it's really good. It works.
Absolutely. And that's so for you, like obviously the mind impacts the body. So whatever goes into the mind comes out into the world essentially. So you're saying well-being is holistic, right? What goes into your mind also impacts at the cellular level.
Totally.
Amazing.
And what your mind decides to put on your skin and put in your mouth and, do the,
yes.
It's crazy.
Yes.
We've got to wake up, and know what's healthy and good for us.
Absolutely. So tell us about the endocannabinoid system, because I know you love etymology, and the first thing that I saw in that word was the word cannabis. So is that right?
Yes, it's exactly right.
Okay.
The cannabis has the endocannabinoids in it and things like that. And that's why for thousands of years, cannabis and hemp, where you could make CBD oil. Yes. Which is the cannabinoids, whatever how you pronounce it. But the thing is, it was so healthy and it was so healing with so many things that it did.
Yes.
It conflicted with the pharmaceutical poison-making industry.
Wow.
And so they paid politicians to make it illegal.
Yes.
And now, thankfully, most of it's becoming legal in other countries. Yes. Even in the U.S., it's all totally legal now. Yeah. And so thankfully it's coming back. But I've heard that here in Australia it's not. It's not legal here. I've heard unless you go to a medical doctor.
Yeah. Medicinal.
But
Exactly.
they make their oils. They're not organic cold processed. They make it with butane and what's that other thing? Anyway, they make it with solvents, and so it's not
pure.
what it should be.
Right.
It's not pure. And in the U.S., my workers and we grow our own, we make our own CBD oil because we cut it with organic hemp seed oil so that you don't get euphoric and high and all of that.
Yes.
It's only got 3% THC, but it heals exactly like the cannabis does, but you just don't, get all weird and euphoric and strange. And so we have that,
Yeah.
But anyway, all of that endocannabinoid system in the human body, most people know it as the central nervous system.
Right.
And it runs all through the body, especially up the spine and into the brain, and then goes out from there through your arms and hands and legs and feet. And anyway, the endocannabinoids, the receptors in that nervous system, as they run through the whole body, they're responsible for regulating homeostasis,
right,
which means internal balance.
Yes.
And that's what helps to do all of that. And I think we talked about expansion and contraction, or did we?
No, we didn't.
In the last. Oh, no? Oh, okay. It's that system that keeps us balanced and healthy in the processes of the forces of nature that's all through our body and even all the way around the planet.
Right.
And the ancients taught it, and it's called expansion and contraction.
Yes.
Your body, all 10,000 trillion cells expand and contract all the time.
Right.
If you take a deep breath and let it out,
yes,
your lungs expand and contract. Your heart expands and contracts.
Yes.
The pupils of your eye expand and contract.
Exactly.
Even the eyelids, they expand and they contract.
Yes.
And you can take your hand and expand it, and you can close it.
Yes.
And make a fist, and that's expansion, contraction.
Yes.
And that's why we can lift things with our arms and hands. That's why we can walk. That's why everything is based on expansion, contraction.
Exactly.
When you have a discomfort or dis-ease, today
yes,
called disease,
yes,
it means expansion and contraction is out of balance.
Got it.
And the expansion, the medical term for that now is inflammation.
Yes.
Inflamed, it's expanded.
Yes.
And contraction is blockage.
Right.
Like the arteries, they can become blocked.
Yes.
And so the contraction is too much.
Yes.
And so you got to know the foods to eat to clear out plaque, and grapefruits do that, and that upsets the pharmaceutical industry, but they do. It works every time.
Wow.
I've had people scheduled for a quadruple bypass open heart surgery. They eat 2 grapefruit every single day, and within 30 to 45 days, they don't even have clogged arteries.
Wow.
It brings back the balance of expansion and contraction.
Incredible.
And that's why the cannabis and CBD oils and things just are so healthy. It's just incredible what they do.
Yes.
And it's an immune boosting plant. They get rid of all kinds of chronic pain, arthritis, back and neck pain. It heals and clears cancers, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis. And I've had literally probably 300 kids with epilepsy.
Yes.
And we get them our CBD oil, and bing, it's gone. And even when kids get autism from vaccines and stuff, the CBD oil can pull them right back out of it and bring them back. It's really
amazing.
Powerful.
It's incredible.
And it also clears up anxieties and depressions.
Yeah.
And it even helps to clear out bad bacteria that sometimes just get an overwhelm in the human body because of what people are eating and doing, and overprescribed antibiotics, which destroys so much of the health. And I'm so thankful antibiotics are being banned in countries in Europe and places.
Yeah.
And yet they're the number one moneymaker for most medical doctors.
Exactly.
And so it's just absolutely crazy. And it can actually help people to trigger weight loss if they're fat. and it can help to metabolize everything and to get rid of the fat and all of that. And the fat mutates into stem cells, which go through the body and heals. And that the cannabinoids are also good for the heart, great for the skin to get rid of acne and dermatitis and psoriasis and eczema and rashes.
Wow.
And you can take it as a sublingual under the tongue, and you can also put it right onto the skin.
Incredible.
And yeah, and it's just so cool that it also heals all the different kinds of cancers they've named and came up with and created.
It's incredible.
And yeah, and then with the eye exercises they used to teach people for hundreds of years, the CBD oil and those eye exercises, you can get rid of your glasses because they weaken your eyes, so you have to go get a stronger prescription.
Yeah.
And so it's just crazy. Anyway.
So it sounds like, I mean, it's a wonder herb, really. It is. Yeah. So the endocannabinoid system, as you say, so it's a central nervous system, and it's what governs the homeostasis in the body. Is that right?
Yes. You betcha.
And how do we improve it apart from cannabis?
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't have access to the CBD oils and cannabis and things, then what we have to do is get back to the understanding of what the ancients called true livers,
right,
and healthy livers.
Okay.
And they called it that because it's the largest organ in the human body. It's the size of a football.
Yes.
And its crucial functions is like for digesting your food, storing energy, removing toxins from the body.
Yes.
And anyway, that's why they anciently called it liver.
Right.
It means to live.
Oh.
And was the sound of power and energy back in those times.
Amazing.
And so liver, the power and energy of the liver is so critical. And it's the hardest working organ. It works 24 hours a day. It detoxifies the blood. It produces bile, which is anions, which is needed to digest the fats and different things. And it helps to, break down the hormones. It gets rid of hard alcohol, toxic exposure to things that people eat and drink. But naturally fermented alcohol like organic wine and good organic beers that have no additives, no preservatives, no coloring, no flavorings.
Yeah.
And those are healthy.
Okay.
And because they were sacred ferments, that's why religion called them sacraments.
Yes.
They were the sacred ferments. And I always tell people, if Jesus would have turned the water into beer, not wine, I'd be a Christian.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
You did say. So then, obviously then, detoxification is paramount, and the body does that naturally, the liver does that naturally for us. But how important is it? I mean, does the liver not do a good enough job, or is it the fact that people need to detoxify now because their bodies are so overloaded with extra toxins?
Yeah, most people have weakened livers.
Right.
And they don't even realize it. The things that help you to understand that you've got to do something for your liver is if you feel fatigue, if you're jaundiced, if you have extreme weight loss, if you have a loss of appetite, if you just feel weak all the time, nausea, vomiting, confused in the brain,
right.
You have trouble concentrating, and even in the pain in the center or right upper part of the belly,
yes,
you'll know that something's going on with your liver. And a lot of times people have enlarged livers that are just gigantic, and oh my gosh. And things like bloating and so much gas to where they're always farting and burping and, all of that. Yeah. And then when you see your urine, if it's dark, that's fine if you've just had coffee or something like that. But if you haven't and it's dark, it's time you need to detoxify and clean up. And a lot of times people bruise real easily on the skin and stuff. And even excessive sweating shows that the liver needs help. Constipation, even, anyway, yeah.
Amazing. And so talk to us about, so obviously the liver is the biggest organ in the body, which, helps detoxify, but also we detoxify also through the skin and the kidneys and obviously,
Yes.
yeah. So how else do we detox
And
naturally?
the intestines and
Right.
things like that. All of that, the urine, the intestines, the skin pushes things out. And so it's detoxing. But it's the liver that assists in all of
Right.
it. And it's the number one organ.
Such a
And,
big job.
oh, it is. It is.
Goodness.
Yeah. And so people, a lot of times, it's so healthy to make sure you eat the foods that detoxify the liver
Right.
and help clean it and keep
Yes.
it strong in its function.
Yes.
And those foods that will detox it and also help to detox the rest of the body is they're mostly the cruciferous vegetables
Yes.
like kale and cabbage.
Yeah.
Even lettuce has it, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, and even beets and celery.
Yes.
And the ancients had a recipe where they would mix carrots and apples and beets and lemons,
Yes.
and they would smash it all up into a drink, and they would drink it as a juice.
Yes.
And they used to call it the blood of juices.
Right.
And that's where the phrase "the blood of Jesus" came from. It literally meant the juices of the food.
Wow.
And yeah, most people don't even know that. So I came up with a name for those foods and that juice, and I named it Kabbalah juice.
Yes.
The C, the letter C, is 1 kilo of carrots,
Yes.
and then an apple, and then a beet, and then an apple, and then a lemon, and then an apple. Kabbalah, Cabala.
Yes.
And if people would have that often, oh my gosh, it's so healthy. And I even make, and my workers, we put together organic, just naturally air-dried, non-toxic drying of the carrots, the apples, the beet, and the lemon, and we put it into a powder.
Right.
And people can activate it by pouring it into good, clean, healthy water.
Yes.
And they just stir it up and drink it. And that way, if they're traveling and they don't have a juicer, they don't have an access to a juice shop, or, they don't have the time to make it themselves.
Yes.
It's so easy.
Instant.
And it helps so many people.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And so what are we looking to detoxify from the body?
Well, so many people have so many toxins in their bodies because of what they're eating and what they're drinking and what they're putting on their skin and even shampoo.
Yes.
And that's why we make good, organic, healthy skincare products and organic foods to eat and things like that for people. And even shampoo has chemical toxins that can go into people and cause you to have things to where you're going to go to the doctor.
Yes.
And they're doing that with so much hand soaps and this and that, antibacterials. Oh, my God, that stuff is horrible.
Yes.
And people go into the bathroom and wash their hands with antibacterials, and then the septic's like, wake up.
Yes.
Hell, all you got to do is run water on it and dry it off.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's so crazy.
I know. But what about, so toxin-wise, so is it the heavy metals, the free radicals, parasites, are all these things harmful for the body that we want to try and get rid of on a regular basis?
Yeah. More and more people, and I'm so thankful it's finally happening, are waking up and they're stopping eating dead animals.
Yes.
When you murder those animals, and most people never see it, they just go to McDonald's or they go into the butcher shop and buy it. So
Yes.
they don't see the screaming and the crying of the animal.
Yes.
And the emotional molecules that wind up in their organs and body.
Yes.
And then people are eating it, so the negative emotional molecules and the cadaverine chemistry that rots the animal body activates in the human.
Yeah.
And it's the leading cause is cancer. And if you look up the word cancer, it means rot and decay. And cancer doesn't even exist, until they came up with eating dead animals and putting chemicals into foods and drinks like soda pops and all of the crap foods that people buy off the shelf of the store. And we just got to wake up and support the local farmers market.
Yes.
And go in, get good, healthy foods and things like that. Anyway.
Yeah. Exactly. So the toxins naturally, so when we consume, even when we're consuming, like you said, if you're avoiding foods or avoiding putting chemicals on your skin, you're less likely to have buildup of heavy metals, would you say? Is that fair?
That's right. And see, a lot of people don't even realize how much ground up aluminum is being put into table salt, going into packaged foods. And aluminum goes through the bloodstream into the brain and causes Alzheimer's.
Yes.
And all kinds of other problems. And so we just need to detox it. And one of the best foods you can do to detox that out of there and to even support the liver is potatoes and sweet potatoes.
Right.
And people think potatoes aren't healthy, and that's just not true.
Right.
They know the particles in a potato and a sweet potato, when it goes into the body and goes through the bloodstream into the lymphatic stream at the end, those particles of potatoes bump up against toxic chemicals and metabolic waste that needs to come out of the body. They swell up like a sponge and absorb it.
Wow.
And then it's carried down into the intestines and you poop it out.
Right.
Yeah. And so many people are being told that different foods are not good for you. Don't eat potatoes. Don't eat a tomato.
Yes.
Don't eat girl. I just want to slap them.
But is it because they associate potatoes with fried potatoes, do you think? Potato
There's
chips.
nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with baking them, frying them. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
They still work,
okay.
even when you have it that way. And I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So basically, a toxin is a byproduct of a food or something that's been ingested in the body, right?
Yes, that's what it is.
And it presents as like either a heavy metal, which comes from, like you said, aluminium or barium or any other, and they basically come from, again, anything we ingest either on the skin or through foods. And then we've got free radicals. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what are free radicals?
You tell me.
Well, my understanding is a free radical is a byproduct of toxins. So if you, for example, if I'm breathing in bad air or if I'm consuming something that actually I don't really know. Is it because when the body's trying to break down a toxin, it produces a free radical?
Yeah, it does that.
Okay.
And a lot of that where people get pneumonia and they get this and they get that and lung congestion and everything is because they sleep in air conditioning and furnace air.
Right.
If you're gonna lay down, you've got to turn off the air conditioning and turn on a fan or do whatever you need to do.
Right.
And if it's cold, then just put on another blanket. Then when you wake up, it's okay to turn it on if you're sitting up and walking. But when you lay down to the gravitational field of the earth and you're right there with it, don't breathe that kind of air. And not enough people will open their windows during the day while they're at work or that, just so the air goes out and fresh air comes in. And so as long as you got screens on your window, it's good to just let the fresh air in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what about parasites? So obviously we get they from meat mostly, meat, fish, and some vegetables, or
no vegetable that will create parasites. Nothing.
Can they live on the vegetables?
Anything that is a parasite and goes into vegetables or fruits and things, they die.
Right.
When you eat them, they're dead. They just go through your poop and come out.
Right.
But the others from animals,
Yes.
they live in dead animals.
Right.
And then they get into you. So you can get brain parasites like the trichina worm. It's a microscopic parasite.
Yes.
People get in the brain, and the leading cause of it is eating dead pigs.
Ooh.
Having the bacon, having the pork chops, having all. And the people that get high-end trichina worms in the brain, it's called trichinosis.
Right.
And those die each month, but they hatch out.
Goodness.
Every month. And they all hatch out under a full moon.
Right.
And that's why the people that have it were called lunatics.
Oh.
Because Luna was one of the names of the moon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So they went crazy that time when they were hatching out.
Yeah. And a lot of times people are just act weird and crazy, and it's just good grief. And it's like they have no control on their behaviors or thoughts or this or that.
Goodness.
And a lot of times, and the ancients taught it, there are 3 paths to healing.
Right.
Which means to detox and to strengthen.
Yes.
And so there was a fast path,
yes,
a faster path,
yes,
and a fastest
yes,
path.
yes, yes.
And the fast path is eating good, healthy, in season fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and grains.
Yes.
And having good, clean water to drink and healthy drinks, not
Yes.
the poisonous crap. And the faster path was for people to do a juice fast.
Yes.
And so when people do juice fast, like even people that are lethargic, they don't have any energy, if they do a fruit juice fast, within 10 days, their energy will be through the roof.
Amazing.
And I've seen it
Yes.
hundreds of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there are people who were diagnosed with cancer and they had chemo and they had surgery and they had radiation.
Yes.
Which is crazy. No one even dies of cancer. They die of the medical treatment.
Interesting.
And that's published in their own medical journals, and doctors don't even look at it. They don't want to know.
Wow.
But the thing is, I've had people that have been sent home out of the hospital after going through all that crap and told, oh, you've only got 2 weeks to live. Some of them say, oh, you got 90 days to live.
Yes.
The only reason they can tell them how long they got to live is the studies of toxicology on the drugs and everything they've been through.
Right.
They're not gods. How do they know you're going to be dead in 90 days?
Yes.
Other than they know the studies of how long they're going to live because it kills them.
That's right.
And I've had people sent home, told they're going to be dead in 2 weeks, 90 days, whatever. And they do a juice fast.
Yes.
And then if they have the courage, they can heal and clear it up the fastest way if they will do nothing but water.
Yes.
And the first 3 or 4 days, it's kind of rough because you're not, used to it. But after about 3 to 4 days, you feel fine.
Absolutely.
And as long as you're drinking 2, 3, 4 liters of water a day, you're like, I don't think I'll ever even need to live again. I mean, to eat again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I've done 7 40-day water fasts with people just to help them get through it. Because when you do it with other people, and you got people to talk to and to visit, and to laugh with, and go walking with,
yes,
you're fine.
Yes. Incredible. And obviously, so though the fastest ways, they are a sure way, obviously, to detox all the organs in the body. So talk to us about what people are likely to see during the detoxification process. What physical changes and what's going to come out of the body?
Well, sometimes they're going to see parasites coming out in their poop.
Right.
They might have rashes and all kinds of pustulent things pushing up through their skin.
Yes.
Because the cells are being awakened and they're pushing all of the toxins out.
Yes.
And some people, even the whites of their eyes will just go blood red, you know,
Yes.
and it freaks them out, but don't even let it bother you. It's going to clear up.
Right.
And, you know, another thing I wanted to mention was a lot of times another thing that can help cleanse the liver and overcome toxicities in the body and even overcome low potassium levels, which we need,
Yes.
is eating bananas.
Right.
They deliver the highest levels of potassium and they release toxins all through the body, and they get rid of heavy metals. They're one of the biggest removers of aluminum and heavy metals. And even apples do that to the brain. The particles in the apple is just like a potato.
Amazing.
But with the apple, it goes through the brain, grabs the metals, carries it down to the intestines, and gets it out. That's why they used to say an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Yes, you did say. Amazing.
And some cultures even said a banana a day keeps the doctor away.
Amazing.
So I got to get back to that.
Exactly. And so what about, so obviously, so you said you might likely to see parasites coming out and changes in the body. And what about energetically? Because I know a lot of people think, my goodness, 6 days or 10 days with no food and just juice or just water or whatever, how does that impact? Obviously you need to be in an environment that's conducive to allow you to heal and to rest during your detoxification.
Yeah. You got to be able to just take care of yourself and rest.
Yes.
If you feel tired, that's fine. Lay down.
Yes.
But if you can, go outside, be in the fresh air, lay down out there, even lay in the sun. The sun does not cause cancer, like everybody's been taught to believe.
Yep.
And the sun is healthy. It's not there to kill us. It's there to keep us alive.
Exactly. Amazing. And so what about how often would you recommend people to do a detox?
If you can.
Because I do it like a 3 to 5 day one once a month. Is that sufficient, would you say?
Yeah, and you do that with juices and things? Or
I do juicing.
Water?
Yeah.
Juicing. Perfect.
Never attempted water fast yet. I'm not brave. I do want to do it, but I feel like I need to be in Bali or somewhere super relaxing and just lie in the sun for 6 days
totally.
or 7 days.
And be with people that are doing it too.
Yes. Yeah.
That's even better.
Exactly.
But, that's perfect. If people will do just juices and good clean water, 3 to 5 days a month, that is brilliant.
Okay.
And some of the things that you can make to really speed up the detoxification is if you get one beetroot the size of the fist.
Yes.
And 6 stalks of celery and a cup of fresh cilantro.
Yes.
And then 1/2 to 1 full lemon, squeezing the juice in.
Yes.
And then a knob of ginger.
Yep.
And you can blend it all up. You can add some water to it or whatever and blend it all up and drink that. It's one of the healthiest detoxing things you have. And then, of course, the Kabbalah juice as well.
Amazing. And what about chelation therapy? I've heard, I've got the bentonite clay at home. I've used it. Is that what you'd use for chelation? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a good one.
So, but what I noticed, it really made my stools very hard.
Oh, yeah. If you can also add, what's that other? It popped out of my head.
That's okay. So basically, the bentonite clay.
There's a mix that you can put together, and it's actually better than just the bentonite. It helps to remove the mucosal lining in the intestines because in a lot of people, it gets too thick.
Right.
And then they're not absorbing the nutrients they're supposed to be getting from the food.
Right.
And so that's why it's good to do that.
Yes.
And to have a good, healthy gut. And so you need to keep a balance between the flora and the fauna in the gut.
Yes.
And so good fauna can come and balance the gut from good, unpasteurized, organic yogurts
Right.
and kefir,
Right.
and even good white cheeses that doesn't have any animal rennet.
Okay.
Animal rennet is where they murder the baby cow when it's coming out of the mother cow, and they chop its head off and pull it out and cut its guts open, scrape the stomach,
Oh,
and that's what they're throwing into cheeses. And Big Pharma came up with all that crap.
goodness.
And so when you go and buy the white cheeses, look at it and make sure it says vegetable enzymes.
Okay.
And so, that's a good one.
Okay. So the gut, so the importance, so basically when we ingest food, it goes into the stomach, which breaks down. So we've got the stomach's role is to churn, and the stomach acid kind of breaks down the food, and then it goes through the small intestine and large intestine, right? So small intestine is where it takes out the nutrients, is that right?
Uh-huh.
And then goes to the large, and that's where more of the water's taken out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we defecate. So having a healthy, functional gut, stomach, colon is key to it's what we absorb, really, that whole you are what you eat. It's really you are what you digest, essentially. And like you said before, if the mucosal lining is too thick, then the body can't really digest and assimilate the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that it needs. Because I remember years ago I had a condition known as leaky gut, which you would well know. And I didn't get a period for 2 years, and my body, even though I thought I was eating right, my body just wasn't absorbing correctly. So once I healed the lining of my gut and my small intestine, it kind of improved my overall health and well-being. But it did take a long time. Took about maybe 6 to 9 months of basically healing and eating the better foods and just being really super conscious and taking herbs, etc., to help heal my intestines. So do you, so what's your advice to people? So obviously, how do they know if their body's not digesting well?
Well, it really comes down to the stool.
Right.
If it's like hard and clumpy or, whatever, then it's not working as good as it ought to be. And even the colors of it, it's, if it's dark black and all of that kind of stuff, that's fine. Yeah, you eat some foods that would make it that color.
Right.
But we just have to be very aware, that we're eating enough fibers
Yes.
in foods, and we're drinking enough water.
Yeah.
And we're walking,
Yes.
enough every day. And and then you'll be fine with that kind of stuff.
It's almost we need it like a poop chart in the bathroom, in the toilet, to see, what's coming out, and to see, to measure as a metric to measure the health of the gut and the colon. It's interesting. So what about we talk a lot about gut detoxification and cleaning the body out of, heavy metals, free radicals, toxins and parasites, etc. What about digital detoxing? I worry a lot about EMR and the impact it's going to have or has on our bodies as it is. Like, I already feel from holding my phone a lot, my hand tends to tingle and I feel like my arm gets hot. So I just wondered about how do we reduce the effects of EMR on the body? Is there something we can do naturally?
Absolutely. And this has been tested, and they know that it's true, but they're not letting it out there. The color yellow,
right,
is the greatest color of protection of the human body from EMR, EMF, all these different things that are going on, even from 5G and all the different things.
Right.
And so on your devices, if you can get a yellow cover,
right,
and if you have smart meters and other things on your home, a lot of people are getting sick and having bad problems with them. And if you go out and just cover it with a yellow plastic bag or a yellow whatever, you won't feel it anymore.
Wow.
And I've had lots of Australians do it, and they've texted me and called me and said, "Oh my gosh, we used to feel it every time. Now we're not feeling anything."
That's incredible.
And so they know it works. And even the 5G towers, there's one in the family that knows about all of this stuff, and I don't remember the location of it in Perth, but they had built a building and they have a 5G thing on it and they painted it all yellow. And it's very fascinating that, some people are catching on and understanding. And then also to protect everything internally, eat yellow foods.
Right.
Eat the bananas, eat the lemons, eat the yellow squash, eat yellow tomatoes or yellow apples or, whatever. Anything that's the color yellow, make sure you have those in your diet.
Wow. Well, it's actually one of my favorite colors, so I'm so happy to hear that.
Oh, good.
Is it because it reflects?
I think so.
Okay.
Even the ancients taught that the reason the sun is yellow is because that's how it protects from energy frequencies that could be harmful.
Yes.
And so because it's yellow, it's not harmful, it's safe.
Right.
And you can go out, lay in the sun, get a suntan. It fills your body up with vitamin D and other nutritional components.
Yes.
The sunshine makes people happy, makes them smile. And the complementary reversal color of yellow is blue.
Right.
If you take something that's yellow and holding it in front of you and stare at it for 60 to 90 seconds and then look at a white wall, your brain will project the image out on the wall and it'll be blue.
Wow.
And you can take something that's blue and do the exact same thing and you'll project yellow.
Wow.
And that's why the sun is yellow and that's why the sky looks blue.
Oh, I love that.
And yeah, and when the sun hits water, the water is blue.
Yes.
So,
It's
and most
beautiful.
of us don't even see it or think about it, but it's the truth.
Yep, amazing. Don, I am so grateful for chatting to you today about detoxification. And I'm happy. It's interesting what you mentioned before because we're actually interviewing a guy who has healed himself of a GMB, a glioblastoma, a stage 4 brain tumor. So, and he's done that through his diet. So when you mentioned before about what kills a person. Yeah, it's incredible. So and it's all through diet. So thank you so much for chatting. Tell us how people can find you and how can they find out about your programs and your products and books and everything else you've got available.
Yeah, my actual thing on the internet is dontolman.com.
Right.
And they can see all the products and all the things we do. There's some people that have stolen my name and people think it's me doing it and all that, and,
yes.
different things, which is really pretty tough.
Yeah.
But just dontolman.com and then you're getting the real thing.
Excellent.
And and another thing I thought I'd better just finish up with, if it's okay.
Of course.
I just, a lot of times people will get a hold of me and they're just devastated because they have a tough time sleeping.
Right.
And sleeping is the greatest gift of the cosmos.
Yes.
And that's what they taught anciently, and it's true.
Yes.
And so if you can just get a hold of nature's sedatives, you'll be able to sleep.
Right.
So if you drink valerian root tea,
yes,
it can help you to sleep. If you get good organic lavender oil,
yes,
and if you get into a warm bath, if you have a bathtub,
yes,
just put like a half a teaspoon on top of the water and swirl it around and lay back and just breathe the effluvial molecules of that oil into your nose and all of that. You can also get a spray bottle and put the lavender in there and spray it.
Beautiful.
Just above your pillows when you go to lay down. And with that there, that's going to help you to sleep. And then another thing that can help people sleep is raw organic milk.
Yes.
Or nut milk. Just warm it up.
Yep.
And if you're open to it, you add 1 tablespoon of good raw organic honey to it.
Yes.
And if you'll drink that 1 hour before you lay down, you'll typically just go right to sleep.
Yeah, well, it's like a baby, right? you know?
Oh, yeah.
Warm bath.
That is true.
Warm bath.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think about when we had kids, we did all those things. You know, we made sure for them to get a good night's sleep. It was like a hot bath, you know, moisturize their skin with lavender oil, give them some hot milk, you know, that's what you did, right? So
Yep, that's good. And then another thing which has helped people that keep having a tough time, they just take one full glass dropper or syringe of my cold pressed CBD oil.
Yes.
And they go right to sleep. You know?
I need to get some of that, please. Can people in Australia buy it from you? Will it get confiscated?
If anybody texts me, I can help you out.
Okay, good.
And they can text me on WhatsApp, the free WhatsApp.
Yes.
And are you okay if I just share my phone number with them?
Absolutely, as long as you're okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Go for it.
Because I want to help people whenever I can.
Absolutely.
It's +1.
Yes.
435-901.
Yes.
0990.
Got it. Okay. So that is excellent, Don, because I'm sure you're going to have an influx of all these people wanting to get their hands on some CBD oil. It sounds like the elixir of life and elixir of youth, and it is essentially like it's a magic, super potent herb, right? It's like a cure-all for everything. So it's nice to be able to access you and to get our hands on it, because I know, like what you said, what we can get in Australia is it's illegal, and the stuff that we can get over the counter, obviously it's medicinal and it's all been synthesized, so it's not very potent. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, as always, talking to you, Don. We look forward to chatting in a few more years to come and touching base on what else, our status, our health status, and what else is trending, etc. So,
okay, thank you, Goddess Girl. You're amazing. Thanks, Vicki.
For more information about Don Tolman and his works, you can go to www.tolmanuniversity, spelt university as in CITY.com. So it's www.tolmanuniversity.com. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and follow me on our YouTube channel, One Body, One Life, to see more inspirational videos to help you reach optimal wellness and longevity. But until next time, don't forget, you've got to nourish to flourish.